afternoon. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Gitasha Sharma. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 7th of June. Indian Prime Minister on a 3-day visit to the US to boost bilateral ties. Suspected Islamist militants hack Hindu priest to death in Bangladesh. And Muslims observe fast across South Asia as the holy month of Ramadan begins. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is on a 3-day visit to United States, is seeking to enhance bilateral cooperation with the country. His meeting with US President Barack Obama is expected to further strengthen the ties.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in the US on Monday on the 4th leg of his 5-nation tour. On his arrival, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the Arlington National Cemetery, where he laid floral wreaths at the tomb of unknown soldiers and Indian-origin astronaut Kalpana Chawla, who passed away in 2003 during a space shuttle disaster with 7 other crew members. Later, he interacted with American think tanks with an aim to find opportunities for both nations to work together.
That different current global issues were discussed in a medium and longer term perspective, and we looked at opportunities and ways for us to be able to work together.
Modi arrived in the US on an invitation by President Barack Obama the last time before the term of the US president ends. Prior to this, the Indian Prime Minister visited Afghanistan, Qatar and Switzerland on his 5-nation tour aimed at expanding India's trade, energy and security cooperation. He will end his tour in Mexico.
India's Federal Bank on Tuesday kept its policy interest rate unchanged. However, it hinted that it could cut the rate later this year depending on the trend of inflation.
The Reserve Bank of India, or the RBI, kept its repo rate unchanged at a 5-year low of 6.50%. Consequently, the reverse repo rate will remain unchanged at 6%. The announcement was made at the second bi-monthly review of its monetary policy on Tuesday. RBI governor cited higher upside risks to inflation trajectory for keeping the rates unchanged, but said that the Federal Bank will remain accommodative provided data are supportive.
Given the uncertainties, the Reserve Bank will stay on hold. However, the stance of monetary policy remains accommodative, and we will monitor macroeconomic and financial developments for any further scope for policy action.
Expectations that the RBI would keep rates on hold had risen after annual consumer price inflation accelerated to a stronger than expected 5.39% in April on account of higher food prices. Experts say domestic conditions for growth are improving gradually, mainly driven by consumption demand, which is expected to strengthen with a normal monsoon.
Moving on to news from Pakistan, media forms an important part of any administration as it depicts the true picture of the state. However, journalists in Gilgit-Baltistan are having a tough time. They are not only facing restrictions but are also deprived of basic rights of a professional. A report.
Presenting the real picture of the region is a daunting task for journalists of Gilgit-Baltistan. Not only are they denied access to government departments, they are threatened for doing independent stories critical of the government.
गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान के अंदर एक बिल पास हुआ जिसमें मतलब ये है कि एक्सेस टू इंफॉर्मेशन का जो आइन के तहत हमें जो हुकूक दिए गए हैं उन हुकूक को सलब करने की कोशिश की गई, जिसकी वजह से आज भी बहुत सारे इदारे हमें वो इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं दे पा रहे हैं और थ्रू फॉर्मली जो हमें इंफॉर्मेशन मिलनी चाहिए एज ए 4th पिलर ऑफ स्टेट वो इंफॉर्मेशन हमें अभी आज तक नहीं मिल पा रही है. पाकिस्तान के आइन की खिलाफ वर्जी है, यह नहीं होना चाहिए। एक्सेस टू इंफॉर्मेशन होना चाहिए ताकि जो हकीकी चेहरा है इस सोसाइटी का, सरकारी इदारों का, वो साफ़ी जो है माशरे को दिखा सकें।
Apart from facing threats from government authorities, journalists of the illegally occupied region are being subjected to harassment by the media houses for which they are working for. Due to lack of associations to safeguard rights of journalists, these media houses are exploiting them and not providing them basic facilities.
यहाँ आप देखें मीडिया हाउसेस के जो मुकामी अखबारात वगैरह हैं, इनके मालिकान जो हैं वो सहाफ़ियों से रिपोर्टर्स एक हिसाब का बेगार तो ले रहे हैं। उनकी सर्विसेज लेना, ये कहना बेजा होगा कि वो पे अगेंस्ट सर्विसेज कर रहे हैं, बल्कि वो एक किस्म का बेगार ले रहे हैं। कम उजरत पर उनसे बहुत ज़्यादा काम दिया जा रहा है।
Despite facing such problems and pressure, these journalists are still risking their lives, ignoring their needs, and are reporting about the ground realities of the region illegally occupied by Pakistan for decades.
And now news from Bangladesh. A Hindu priest was hacked to death in Bangladesh on Tuesday by suspected militants. 70-year-old Anandu Gopal Ganguly was attacked by 3 bike-borne assailants near his home in western Jineda district in what is being seen as the latest in the spate of killings of minorities and liberal thinkers in the Muslim-majority country. The Islamic State has reportedly claimed responsibility for the killing. Since February last year, militants in Bangladesh have killed more than 30 people, including members of religious minorities, liberal bloggers, and academics. The IS has earlier claimed responsibility for some of the attacks, although the government has denied their presence in Bangladesh. Meanwhile, Bangladesh Supreme Court has upheld the death penalty granted to Jamaat-e-Islami leader Mir Qasim Ali for atrocities committed during the 1971 Liberation War from Pakistan. The death sentence was issued by the International Crimes Tribunal in Bangladesh, responsible for investigation and prosecution of suspects involved in war crimes.
Prison authorities read out the death warrant to Jamaat leader Mir Qasim Ali at Kashimpur Central Jail on Tuesday morning. It came hours after the Supreme Court on Monday published the full copy of its verdict that upheld his death sentence for 1971 wartime atrocities. The war criminal now has 15 days to file a review petition against the apex court's verdict. 63-year-old Ali will be the 5th Jamaat-e-Islami leader after Jamaat chief Motiur Rahman Nizami to be sent to the gallows for their notorious roles in the 1971 Liberation War. According to the Bangladesh government, about 3 million people were killed and thousands of women were raped during the 1971 war, in which some factions, including the Jamaat-e-Islami, opposed the break from what was then called West Pakistan.
Moving on to news from Nepal, Federal Alliance on Tuesday started an almost 1-month-long relay hunger strike in capital Kathmandu to mark protest against the new constitution. This comes a day after leaders and cadres of Federal Alliance met in southern Birganj on Monday to discuss future course of action regarding their ongoing anti-constitution protests. The Madheshi agitation that began in southern region of Nepal last year made its way to capital Kathmandu last month as the coalition of more than 24 parties, including Madheshi Front, protested against the constitution near Singha Darbar office complex that houses the Prime Minister's office and the other ministries. Muslims across South Asia have begun fasting for the holy month of Ramadan. It is an intensely spiritual period when many try and reconnect with their faith and their community through prayer, charity, and recitation of the Quran.
Thousands of Muslims across India came out of their homes on Monday to catch a glimpse of the waxing crescent, marking the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan on Tuesday. Large number of people visited the famous Charminar Mosque in southern Telangana province to offer prayers. Shopping also forms an important part of Ramadan. Muslims in India's capital city, New Delhi, were seen thronging markets for all required purchases.
रमज़ान की तैयारी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इबादत के लिए है। तरावी होगी, नमाज होगी, 5 वक्ता रोज़े की एहतमाम होगा और फिर जो किताबों का काम है उसके अंदर लोग कुरान वगैरह सिपारे वगैरह खरीदने आते हैं, उसकी भी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह पूरी तैयारी है।
Similar festive fervor was visible in neighboring Pakistan as well, where people in large number thronged mosques to offer obeisance.
ये अल्लाह तबारक व तआला की रहमत को उभारने वाला अशरा है, तो हमें चाहिए कि हम इसमें खूब नेकियां करके अपने रब अज़्ज़ा वजल को राज़ी करें, मुसलमानों के हकूक़ अदा करें और जो हमसे रूठे हुए हैं हम उनको मनाएं और जो भी हमसे आज तक कोताहियाँ हुई हैं उसकी अल्लाह तबारक व तआला की बारगाह में माफ़ी मांगें।
Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. It involves rigorous fasting for about a month. Festive foods like dates are typically served as appetizers before a lavish meal after sunset. During this month, Muslims do not consume food or water from dawn till dusk. They start their day with sehri, a pre-dawn meal, and end it with iftar, the evening meal.
Indian fashion designing students exhibited an array of vibrant collection under the theme of Art, History and Heritage. The students in India's western city of Vadodara were at their creative best as they presented exquisite outfits. Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Indian Prime Minister on a 3-day visit to the US to boost bilateral ties. Suspected Islamist hacked Hindu priest to death in Bangladesh. And Muslims observe fast across South Asia as the holy month of Ramadan begins. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.